beauty of whalebone is the same magic that happens with a reed. If you put it in warm water, it morphs right back to its original straight shape. These bones are whalebone. As you can see, the upper one is entirely warped. Quite similar to what happens to... No, more like what happens to the Regulin. Except for that, whalebone is terribly flexible as well. I'm not going to do the test with these. Nuh-uh. This is broad plastic boning, 1 centimeter broad. I'm going to try and see what happens if this really often is bended over an angle of my thumb. What the heat and the movement will do to the shape. It's just a curve now. The next test is to really get it into an angle to see if it will kink. You know, like those kinks that you get in your corset when you wear them with plastic boning. The really annoying ones. We have a kink. So this plastic will bend. Now, if we do the same thing with a 1 centimeter broad, but in this case, metal bone. Absolutely nothing. Stay straight. Now let's try and get a kink. Yes, we have a kink. Compared to the plastic one. Plastic again. Again, there has come a curve. Oh, the bow has become sharper, but that's the only difference. There's no real kink. Now, for metal, 0.5 centimeter wide. Ouch. Takes a lot more force. Close to nothing happened. It's gotten a little bow, a really, really tiny, small, slight bow. Let's try and kink it. Definitely a kink. Compared to the plastic boning, there's something to say for that it doesn't kink at all. I wonder how that works. I have to try it once, I think. As it doesn't kink, that's promising. Regulin boning. Don't know really if you can call this boning. Look at it. This stuff is really notorious. If you have it in your corset, you can't call it a corset, according to me. But if you have it in your corset, you know that after 3 times sitting in your corset, your whole body is displayed in it, and it will never be good again. Well, it will. Really easy, like this. But when you wear it again, this is no challenge. No challenge whatsoever. Just forget the ridgeling. 2 other examples I found from a corset. This one, really warped and all, is artificial whalebone. This one looks feels slightly similar to the artificial whalebone, except for that it's transparent. I don't really know what it is exactly, but it feels more rubbery-like. They're both the same width, and I believe both come from the same corset, or what would be named a corset. Here I have two pieces that are, slightly mistreated, but let's see how they react to my tests. Over the thumb, I have a kink already. It's pulling straight again, slowly, but still a real genuine kink. My thumb test, it curves quite easily back to its original form. Now let's see what happens when I really try to kink it. Kink test. Only a slight dent, similar to the broader plastic one. So the whalebone, artificial whalebone, should be able to handle corset kinking quite well, so it's a bit of a mystery to me how this bone came to be like this, and not a good omen, as I just bought 50 meters of artificial whalebone to fit into my bridal corset. This is definitely not a good omen. It makes my test look really inferior to what actually happens in a corset. So, I will see what happens in the mock-up. So in conclusion, do not even think about it. Just throw it away or use it for mock-ups. The wide metal bones kink, but not that much. Although I must say that the metal one is much more resilient than the plastic one. Surprise! The half centimeter bones, well, the metal bone kinks definitely, where the plastic bone doesn't, which really surprises me. But the plastic bone is obviously far less resilient than the metal bone. The artificial whalebone and the whatever it is, transparent bone, both kink, but very slightly with my test. However, I know that they can seriously kink, both of them. Actual whalebone can warp really heavily, but I must say that the feel of the natural whalebone does compare a little bit to the artificial whalebone, except for the width. The artificial whalebone is not quite as broad as my real, genuine whalebone. They are just as wide, but the feel is a bit different. The whalebone is more flexible than this plastic, slightly broader bone. To really match the whalebone, the artificial whalebone should have been a little bit broader, wider, but the feel is slightly the same. The artificial whalebone is still more flexible. I myself think that the slightly wider plastic bone is the most similar to the whalebone. Maybe I should use this one instead of this artificial whalebone. So I'm going to make a mock-up of my wedding corset with the artificial whalebone that I bought, but I will also go on the lookout for these plastic bones that are not artificial whalebone, but they do not kink and they come very close to the genuine whalebone. Comparing of the two mock-ups, which one would be best for my wedding corset? I've measured my natural waist in the morning and then it was 93 centimeters. My corseted waist at the end of this day is 83 centimeters. I don't know what's happening, but something is. This is only the end of the first month and we'll just keep lacing. Thanks for watching. Hope to see you next week.